What if England's most famous outlaw never actually existed? What if Robin Hood wasn't one man, but a stitched-together legend, woven from fragments of real lives, myths, and rebellion? Behind the green cloak and the heroic tales lies a murkier story of injustice, power, and identity. From dusty court records to whispered ballads, we uncover the candidates who may have inspired the myth. This is The Real Robin Hood, unmasking the faceless legend. Robin Hood. Just the name conjures images of Sherwood Forest, daring archery, and stolen riches gifted to the poor. For centuries, he stood as the ultimate folk hero, a symbol of justice outside the law. But is there truth behind the tale? Was Robin Hood ever real? Or is he an echo of England's hidden struggles, of class warfare, lawlessness, and defiance during one of its most divided eras? Historians, poets, and folklorists have debated this for centuries. The earliest mentions of Robin Hood date back to the 14th century, appearing in ballads long before the printing press made myths mainstream. Yet oddly, these stories were never consistent. Some made him a peasant, others a dispossessed noble, and even his enemies and allies varied. His home shifted, from Barnesdale to Sherwood, from Yorkshire to Loxley. And yet, certain figures from history seem to line up with the legend. They bore similar names, lived in the right regions, and most importantly, they rebelled against the elite. Let's explore the leading real-life candidates who may have worn the hood. To understand Robin Hood, we must first understand medieval England, a land torn between rulers and rebels, rich and poor. After the Norman conquest in 1066, Anglo-Saxon peasants were stripped of power and lands by the Norman elite. Feudalism entrenched social classes, and justice was not just blind, it served only the few. The forests, once common lands, were claimed as royal property. Poaching a deer could result in a death sentence, and yet people survived through resilience, cunning endeavors, and sometimes rebellion. During the 12th to 14th centuries, the countryside simmered with tension. The anarchy of the 12th century, the tyranny of King John, the burdensome taxes to fund foreign wars. It was a time when ballads were more than entertainment. They were protest songs. Outlaws weren't simply criminals. Many were poor men driven to the forests after being denied justice by the crown or feudal lords. Our first real-life candidate is a very interesting one, Robert Hood of Wakefield. He lived in early 14th century Yorkshire, an area frequently connected to the Robin Hood legend. And conveniently, between 1316 and 1332, Robert Hood appeared multiple times in Yorkshire's court rolls, often noted as an outlaw or fugitive. His background? Likely a yeoman, a free farmer, not noble but not serf either. But it's the minute details that matter. Many early Robin Hood ballads described him as a yeoman of good repute. Wakefield wasn't far from Barnesdale Forest, one of the earliest mentioned hideouts of Robin Hood. And reportedly, Robert may have taken part in local uprisings or been involved in land disputes during the Great Famine. But was he a hero, or just another man avoiding taxes or justice? Sadly, there is no record of him bowing down nobles, ransacking their gold, and aiding the poor. Still, his name, location, and timeline place him at the heart of Robin Hood's earliest mentions. Was he the seed of the story? A real man whose small defiance grew into something larger? Even earlier than Robert of Wakefield, we find Robert Hood of York. In 1226, under the reign of King Henry III, Robert Hood was declared an outlaw by royal decree. His lands were confiscated, a severe penalty indicating a serious offense. But what crime did he commit? Unfortunately, the historical records are brief, just a name, a status, and a punishment. He's a ghost in the documents. But his timing, early 13th century, aligns perfectly with the world of Robin Hood. This was the era just after the signing of the Magna Carta. Discontent ran high, especially among commoners. Robert Hood may not have fired arrows at tax collectors or confronted corrupt sheriffs, but his outlaw status and the loss of his property suggest resistance, however small. And for balladeers of the time, that might have been enough. Over time, a man like Robert Hood could morph into a story, one retelling at a time, until history forgot the man and remembered only the myth. Then there's the most iconic name of all, Robin of Loxley. Loxley, a village near Sheffield in South Yorkshire, is nestled close to what was once thick woodland, Loxley Chase. It's the perfect setting for an outlaw's tale. According to local folklore, a man named Robin lived here around 1160. But there's no solid documentation, no court rolls or property records. So why is Loxley so closely tied to the legend? The answer lies in Victorian England. During the 19th century, there was a revival of English myths and folklore, driven by nationalism and the romantic imagination. Writers and poets were drawn to the rugged beauty of Loxley and Sherwood. They needed a birthplace for Robin Hood. Loxley became that place. Though not historically proven, Robin of Loxley became the Robin Hood of imagination. Books, films, and plays all adopted the name, immortalizing him in culture. In truth, he may never have lived, but his story lives stronger than ever. Robin Hood wasn't just a story of adventure, it was political. In the 13th century, King John's reign was marked by heavy taxation and widespread corruption. The Magna Carta, signed in 1215, was a direct response to royal tyranny. Commoners yearned for justice, and Robin Hood became that cry. During every oppressive era, his myth reemerged. When peasants revolted in 1381, Robin Hood ballads spread. When nobles defied weak kings, his name was invoked. He became a cultural weapon. Some called him a social bandit, a figure who, like Spartacus or Zorro, emerged to fight systemic abuse. Even the clergy couldn't resist. In some churches, Robin Hood plays replaced Easter pageants. The outlaw had become a sacred idol, at least to the poor people. Early Robin Hood stories were raw. In the 15th century ballads, he wasn't a nobleman, but a rough, violent outlaw who killed, mocked the clergy, and robbed the corrupt. He lived by his own rules, answering only to his sense of justice. But by the Tudor era, the story was softened. Robin became a loyal subject of King Richard the Lionheart. His crimes were now noble, his archery a gift. He was joined by a band of merry men, Little John, Friar Tuck, and eventually Maid Marian. Courtly ideals shaped the legend. Victorian authors added sentimentality and chivalry. Modern cinema turned him into a swashbuckler. Think Errol Flynn, Kevin Costner, or even Disney's Fox. But no matter the version, Robin Hood endures, because deep down, we all want to believe in a hero who fights for justice when the system fails. So who was the real Robin Hood? Robert of Wakefield? Robert Hood of York? Robin of Loxley? Maybe none, maybe all. Robin Hood was likely never one man, but a compilation of many. An idea that evolved through centuries of social unrest. A figure who existed more in legend than law. But his power lies in that uncertainty. He's the ghost of every unjust trial, every stolen coin, every tyrant unchallenged. Some say the fictional masked vigilante of Gotham, Batman, is a modern take on Robin Hood. Even though he may be a rich, privileged billionaire playboy, his motive is to protect the common citizens from the tyranny of mobsters and carries out justice on his own behalf. So it's safe to say that Robin Hood is whoever we need him to be. In the pages of history, few names burn as brightly or as mysteriously as Robin Hood. He didn't just steal from the rich, he stole our imagination and never gave it back. Subscribe for more untold medieval legends that shaped our world from the shadows.